Greetings, fellow exiles and giant hunters. We're getting quail soon, me and Sarah. So we got to get ready for it. And this is my old quail cage tractor thing that I used to drag around the yard. And it's got some issues that we need to address before we get quail again. It worked well. It needs improvements made and some repairs made. First off, this automatic water I built, I never did get it working. So we're just gonna toss it off to the side for now. We'll worry about getting it working later. We'll use this water until we can get the automatic water. We'll just have to fill it twice a day. And then this end of an automatic feeder, didn't quite get it working, so it's got to go too. We'll use the regular feeder until we get that one working and just fill it once or twice a day. It's not big enough for the number of quail we want, so that's got to be fixed. It's also falling apart. That's no good. And then one of the big problems it has, well, I used chicken wire, and the reason I got rid of my quail last time is because raccoons can reach through here and killed them all. So we got to swap that out for something the raccoons can't reach through. And then another problem this thing has is it doesn't get the quail out of the elements. So we're going to try to integrate this thing, this old tote that we don't have the lid for anymore and we emptied. See if we can't integrate that on one end to help protect them. Also this isn't big enough, so we're going to make improvements to all those things here. So I'll start by tearing it all apart. Cutting a bunch of zip ties. Oh, and also I left the tails off on the zip ties. Don't do that. That's poor craftsmanship. It looks sloppy. I don't know why I did that. I'm better than that. Alright, I got all the hardware cloth and chicken wire off of here. Now we can see what we're dealing with. So this tote fits the width fine. So we don't really have to change that, except for we do have one problem. The handles are where it fits the width. So, and we gotta cut these handles off. Probably should cut this rim off too. Because these handles and these pockets in the rim these little pockets down in here in this rim and the pockets inside the handles, that's gonna fill full of rain and quail feed and quail poop and get all kinds of nasty, so that's got to go. And then we can adjust the width to fit the tote perfectly, because right now with these gaps that's right here, quail eggs and quail poop and all kinds of nastiness will build up in here. So let's go find the hot knife and see if we can cut all this up. Alright, so I've been slowly cutting through this with the hot knife. You just wiggle it back and forth. I have the vice grips on here so I can hold on to this a little bit easier. And then when you get a bunch of melted plastic on there, I just can wipe it off on the handle I already cut off. You can wipe it off on this part, wherever you want. Just you don't want a lot of buildup on there, because that the heating element has to heat the buildup so it doesn't get the knife is hot. And then just slowly work your way around here. There might be a faster way to do this. I was thinking maybe the Sawzall, or Jigsaw. But those tools are kind of crazy and they're fast and reciprocate a lot. I don't know if they could do this safely. Maybe an angle grinder could do a good job at this. The hot knife's working. I'm just sitting here relaxing, using the hot knife, enjoying the birds chirping and listening to the Bible. So that gives you an idea about how fast it's going, cutting through this thing. So I'll finish cutting this around, all the way around, and let you know what it looks like when it's done, and then we can start sizing the Alright, I cut all the way around the tote except for this area. I'm not going to cut all this off because we got to cut a door for the birds to get in and out. So I found about the center of the tote, marked it with the Sharpie, and then measured from this ridge here, which is about 4.5 inches, and then just put a dot in a few places all the way around. Now we're just gonna connect the dots. There we go. And the more round you can make this, the better. But the birds don't care. Again, a jigsaw might be faster at this, but they make such a mess when you're cutting plastic and stuff, and it's kind of bouncy. I don't know how well the jigsaw will be able to safely cut it. So let me finish cutting this off camera because I don't want to bore you guys to death. Alright, we got a really fuzzy edge with a lot of these plastic strings on it, and I don't want the quail getting into those. So we're going to burn them off with the torch. But unfortunately, this torch both has a missing knob and the electronic igniter doesn't work. So we use the Leatherman. You want to turn it on to where you can barely hear it. I don't know how well you can hear that, but then you can turn the torch up once it's lit. And I turned it up too high. You probably can't see the flame, but we'll just go through here and melt all the little strings off. Alright, now there's a gap in here, and when we put the side on here, that'll give the quail like 2.5 inches, so they can squeeze back here and they're going to get stuck, because there's a reason there's a term bird brain. So about 1.5 inches between the pipe and the tote. So let's take this whole end off, and we'll cut the 4 corner pieces down by 1.5 inches. Alright, I've decided, since I got so many of these pipes to cut, and then for a project next week I need to cut these boards, and they have to be cut with the miter saw. Well, I can do it by hand, but they need to be cut at 45-degree angles. It's just easier if I get out the chop saw and go ahead and cut all the pipe that I need to be cut. And cut these boards with the miter while I'm at it. I don't like using a saw for plastic, especially a power saw, because of the plastic dust, but can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. If you don't think I should be doing this and don't like it, build your own quail aviary or quail tractor, however you want to do it, and show me the video. So I got the 2 sides done. One's here, the other's there. Well, at least I thought they were done. Grab the end here to put it on. Realize I cut them the wrong size. So what I did is, I knew it was 2 foot tall. Well, it's 2 feet to the outside here. Well, I cut these at 2 foot and forgot the space the T's take up. So I gotta fix that. The easiest way to fix that is just to take the sides off of this one and measure how big this pipe is. And all these again. I guess I'll go grab the chop saw. I got them all trimmed up the right size. And there we go. Now we gotta do is put the other end on and then get the top on without the whole thing falling apart. Not 100% sure how I'm gonna do. Actually, I do know how I'm gonna do that. Yep, that'll work. We're gonna put the other side on and then flip it on its bottom and then assemble the other side as we go. I'll show you. Hold on. Put together one section at a time. All right, that keeps popping off. We'll fix that here in a second. And I think we can put this together. Good thing PVC is nice and flexible. Okay, the reason this one keeps popping off is because of the screw here for the latch for the lid. We can just take that out, the one out from the other side, and these will fit together a lot better because that pipe can go all the way in without hitting the screw, the eye screw, and then we'll keep these eye screws that the lid latches on and put them on when we figure out the lid. Now we gotta do is check this thing, see how floppy it is, and then start putting the hardware cloth on. PVC coated, of course, because it's gonna be outside and the birds are gonna be making a mess all over it. The only problem we have right now is the thing's a little floppy, but it's not awful. One of those joints just came undone. I'm gonna go through and tap all these with a hammer, see if I can't squish all the joints together, and I think it'll be a lot less floppy after that. This is where a good rubber and plastic mallet comes in. Just tap on all these. Oh, that moved a couple inches there. This joint back together. Side. These 4 joints. Flip it back over onto the bottom. Alright, you can see it's still falling apart this direction. We gotta take care of that. So our 2 options are to set it on the ground on one end and smack it with a hammer. 3 options. But we don't have a ladder. The other way is we can put together like 2 halves and smack those halves. But then when we try to put the 2 halves together, it's still 8 feet tall. Or I push it up against the neighbor's shed. Should be able to get a bunch of taps. Really make sure all those joints are completely seated. Oh, look at that. She's a little wobbly and rickety, but that's no big deal. We can still pick it up and drag it and move it where we need to move it. It's kind of narrower than I'd like, but I want it 2 feet wide or narrow. because when we put the garden beds in, we're gonna put a 2-foot gap between them. So if we ever wanted to, we could set this down between the rows of garden beds and let the quail do their thing and poop and stuff in between the garden beds. And then the beds themselves are going to be the outside ones up against the fence that we're gonna put in. It's gonna be 2 foot wide, and the one in the middle, the middle row of garden beds, is gonna be 4 foot wide. So this could set on top of one half, then the other half, and let the quails fertilize right into the garden beds if we ever want to do that. So I want to keep it 2 foot wide, and it's easier to move. It's easier for the kids to move. So let's get the hardware cloth on it. Alright, so to hold it on the corner, I held it in 2 directions. Eventually I'll have to put more zip ties across here because the quail could escape, but predators will get in through there. But when I put the side on, I'll zip tie both the side and this, and the end and the side together as I zip tie it to the pipe. That'll save on zip ties. No point being wasteful. But notice I zip tied it in 2 directions here, and then I ran out of hardware cloth on that roll, so I did the same thing here. And then I'm going to start the next roll, and then I'll just zip tie the 2 together. So I got it wrapped around all 4 sides. Got the bottom put in. This is all 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch hardware cloth around the sides because I want to be able to stop raccoons. Ideally, I'd use that in the bottom, but I don't have any more, and I already spent like $50 bucks on getting more. So I used some chicken wire that I already had. The raccoons can reach through here, but it's on the bottom, so I don't think that's a big deal. So the next step is to finish off. Oh, I had to patch in some hardware cloth here on the end with the chicken wire because it was like a foot too short. So let me show you how I'm connecting this piece of hardware cloth to the end, and then how we're going to go through here and fill in all these holes. A hog ring. If the camera will focus, it's a little hog ring. And you use these pliers, they have these little divots in there, and they hold the hog ring in, and then when you squeeze on them, they form them into, from a staple U shape into a circle. So what we gotta do is gotta pull the 2 pieces of this tight. Found the easiest way to do that is make a loop out of one zip tie, stick it through there, take another zip tie that's kind of bent, fish it through here. I know it's kind of hard to see on camera, but fish it through here, and the bend will help it get caught by the first zip tie, and now we pull it out. Now we don't want to use that as a zip tie, we're going to use that as a handle to pull the 2 pieces of wire, of hardware cloth together, and then we can hook the hog ring in there and put the hog ring on all of them. I started replacing most of the zip ties starting at this end. Yes, there's some zip ties still holding it to the frame, and I will have to add some more as I go down to help hold it to the frame. But that pulls all the, I start at one end, work my way to the other, and that pulls all the slack down to one end. Now I'm down to this far corner here, this far corner down here. So now I'm going to come back and start over here, and work my way down this way to get rid of the slack in here, and that will pull it taut clear down, and if there's any slack around the edges, that'll put it right at this joint back here, and make it tighter and prettier. I'll show you when I get down there in more detail, but I just wanted to explain the overall strategy of how I'm pulling it tight to not only get rid of all the gaps, but also make it look as nice as possible for something that quail are going to poop all over. Alright, so I created a brace across the top here. This will help with the door. I have 3 doors, so I need to cut it one more time here. Let me tell you how I figured out how much pipe to cut out of here. It's actually pretty simple. So measuring inside of here and figuring out how deep the T is, that's difficult to do. So it's much easier if you just push it together, draw a line, and then pull it apart and measure that. And in this case, that's 1/2 inch. So I measured over 1/3 of the length, put a line, and then go 1/2 inch on each side. And those 2 1/2 inch marks are where I cut it. And probably we would have been better to pre-plan this so I don't have to cut around the hardware cloth, or use the tubing cutter that I can't find. Either of those things would have been a lot better choices, but you work with what you have and you don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, and you get projects done no matter what. That's all about hunting giants. I could stop this project and clean, but I need to get this done. It's a high priority, so I'm going to take and do it the long way. And all the tools as I work are going to be put away in their proper location. And this Friday, family activity is actually cleaning out one of the sheds so we can start getting more organized with tools and outdoor stuff. And that'll get some of the camping gear and stuff out of the house. That's a whole nother video though. Alright, after you have the T in on one side, don't try to measure down here to this side. You're more likely to make a mistake. Let me grab the Sharpie here. If you just take and put a piece of pipe in there, you can bring it down, find where the center is, and mark the center, and move this out of the way. Do our 1/2 inch on each side. And then make the cuts. That way you know this is lined up. Whenever you're working and building things, do as little measurement as you can. Try to use what you're building to set the links you need. Use measurements when you need to, don't guess. But this system works really well. Alright, so my last aviary, or quail tractor I made, I had a problem with the door not staying put, like it would fall inside too far, and these latches were the only thing keeping it from attached. It's a bad idea, it didn't work. I did take, what it is, I put PVC T's on here and use the T as to try to, but since I didn't glue it together, they would just slowly rotate and the door would fall in. So what I did here is to test everything, I have PVC, or not PVC, zip ties for hinges. I do plan on replacing these with hinges. This is just to hold it together for now. So the latch just keeps the door from opening, one on each side. And then parallel to this pipe in front that has all the T's to go across and down, and the structural component, I put another pipe right here and bolted it to both cross members and to both ends. And now that gives the lid something really solid to set on. That's a bad example. Really solid to set on. And once I get these replaced with hinges instead of zip ties, that'll be nice and solid in there. So all I gotta do is build the other 2 lids, put the hardware cloth on them, and put the hinges on. and I got myself a quail tractor. So now that I got this one made, I can copy it for all the dimensions, knock the other two out pretty quick. So the quail tractor's pretty much done here. We'll be getting the birds here this weekend, but before we finish the project, we gotta make sure all these zip ties are tight and go through and clip off the tails. Now, is it necessary to clip off all the tails? Not really, but it shows we care about our work and care about what we're doing, and that's important. I mean, I title every video with calls me and you and everybody who's a fan of this kind of stuff giant hunters, because we don't just wait for the problem to come to us. We go out and tackle the problem. So we take care of these zip ties and these other take care of all the little things. That dripping faucet, you just go fix it. You don't put up with it until it's leaking so bad you don't have a choice to fix it. I know that's not always capable of doing, but it's something you should strive for. And another thing is when you read Exodus, when it goes through and talks about building the temple and all the details inside the temple, or the tabernacle, and God lays out the plan in absolute detail, and then he expects the Hebrew people to carry that out to the exact detail he specifies when building the tabernacle. But why is that's important to God, that we carry through those little details and do the best we can at it? So I know we're not building a tabernacle, we're building a cage to keep quail in, and they're going to poop all over. Not nearly as important as the tabernacle, but still God cares about details, and we should care about details. It also gets us in the practice of looking and paying attention to details, so that way we notice things in life. So when we're walking through the mall, we notice that guy that's a little bit weird and shady looking, that might duck into a store and then come right back out behind us, stuff like that. Everything in life relates to everything else. So that's pretty much all I got for this thing. Let me pan over and see. Still gotta put the tools away, but here she is. I'll do an update once we get the quail and get them in here and show you. Probably do a bunch of shorts on it too. But that's all I got for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it and didn't get anything out of it, well, the video was free and you get what you pay for, so there's that. So thanks for watching, and remember, we, his people, will start rebuilding.